All right, Joel, we're here for another episode of Faces of First Atlanta. I'm here with Mr. Joel Roberts. Thank you for joining me. I'm proud to say at this point in the year, sir, you're sitting in a top spot in the office. I don't know if you're even aware yet, but after August, you are sitting pretty and having a banner year. It sure looks like from the place where I sit. Yet I want to get to know you a little bit and hear about your story and all that fun stuff. Who's Joel Roberts? Kind of give us a little background on you.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate you having me and taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, with so many people in the office, this is a great way to kind of get to know each other. So, yeah, look forward to getting this out and then hopefully learning more about others. But as far as I'm concerned, so I I would kind of moved all over the country growing up. Not sure what I wanted to do in college. Thought I wanted to go in the medical field. Quickly learned that that was not for me after volunteering in a hospital one summer and feeling sick just about every day that I was there with all the sights and sounds. But I noticed that my college happened to offer a business degree with a real estate major. So that's what I did. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And I stuck with it straight out of college, got a job with a national home builder, Pulte Homes, and was with them, learned sales, learned the sales technique, learned all about how homes were built, got to be in sales management with them. And then just figured one day, hey, why can't I do this myself? So kind of ignorance follows. Sometimes I jumped out with some partners. We started building houses in 2003. And from 2003 through 2008, we built about 200 homes and townhomes. Then 2008 hit, and I just got my rear handed to me. Yep. and realized really quick that, yeah, at some point, this side of the business is probably going to bite me. Like it was doing at that point. And so I kind of floundered for a little bit and said, look, I know real estate really well. What can I do at this point? And so in 2009, I got my license and I just got out there and hit the street. Kind of became the foreclosure expert, if you will, because that's what was selling at the time. And the rest is history. It's just kind of been growing from there.
Awesome. So what college you go to?
I went to Baylor University in Waco, Texas.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of people that have real estate degrees, right? Like
Right.
real estate tends to be one of those things that shows up later. So the interesting thing, Gary Keller went to Baylor and
Right.
and he has developed he gives back, and I don't know if he was real involved when you were there or not. It was must have been before. I'm not trying to ask you to divulge your age or anything.
Yeah, Gary's a few years ahead of me.
Yeah. But really, really cool story to hear that you started out with that real estate desire just from the beginning, right? And
Well, yeah. When I was running out of options, I was like, what can I do to make, a decent living with something that I enjoy? And real estate kind of came to the forefront.
Gotcha. So you said you moved around a lot growing up. Military family, or was it just
No, my parents were actually part-time missionaries.
okay?
And so we would, before I was born, they were missionaries to Haiti. While I was growing up, they did several trips to Guatemala. I actually went with them on a trip for 3 months, which was quite an experience. We started a school down there for a town down there. So we kind of traveled around the country working with different ministries and missions. So that's how I ended up all over the country.
Gotcha. What is there any kind of life perspective you think you bring into your business today that you might have picked up at that point of life?
Well, yeah, I mean, in terms of growing up, we were definitely on the low end in terms of income and how we lived and just survived from day to day. And then on top of that, just seeing the people that we were going to, where they were in life, and some of the difficulties they saw, kind of instilled a fire in me. Like, I want to do good for these people, and people I know in different organizations and ministries that I can support. On top of, I don't want my family to struggle like that again, or how I struggled growing up. So yeah, that had a really, really profound effect on what I do today, and kind of my drive.
I love it. I love it. Always interesting to understand people's background, because I think it defines us in some ways in how we developed, right? And in that internal motivation, right?
Right.
So you go to Baylor. I won't ask about the first couple of years. I understand what college life's all about, but you come out with a real estate degree.
Right.
Pulte is a huge home builder, right?
Correct.
And what an opportunity to just kind of dive in and learn that aspect of our industry, right?
Right.
How do you see the building industry versus the real estate sales industry? What do you see as the similarities, and what do you also see as the differences?
So for me, coming out of college, I mean, I didn't know anything. I mean, you go to college, you learn some stuff about real estate, not how to sell real estate, but, just how, commercial deals are done, how to, calculate net present value, different things like that. But I had no clue about how to sell real estate, let alone my parents had never owned their own home. I obviously never bought a home. So it was a really great opportunity for a company like Pulte to train me, not only in how to actually sell, but then, every aspect of a home. And unfortunately, I think that's something our industry lacks, is, kind of that guidance. If you have never bought a home, owned a home, know anything about the process, it's like, hey, go take your license, here's a way to contact a bunch of people, but they're really looking at us to be the experts. So that gave me a really good foundation in terms of learning about residential real estate, what to look for, potential problems, and it kind of just gave me a leg up. As far as, the building industry versus the resale industry right now, or residential agents, I think resales have dominated over the past 10 years. From everything I've read, we have a lack of inventory based on the fact that builders are not able to build an affordable product for, the average person that lives in any given city. So, that's been the theme. That's what's really, I think, helped buoy the market. And I think will continue, because I really don't see any way for builders to make an affordable product with the cost of labor and goods at this point.
In conjunction with median income, right? And affordability, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's all about affordability. Pre-recession in 2008, what it cost me to build a home and my partners to build a home after the recession, the costs now are somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 45% more to build the same home today than it was back then. So it's just really big challenge.
10 years ago, right?
Yeah, so that was quite a few years ago, but it just continues to go up. And there was a big spike in about 2013 in terms of the cost to build. And, everyone that's on this call or watches this video, I'm sure has seen what new construction costs in their given area. And it's often, 25 to 30% more than what you can get a resale for.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting the building industry at one point, this may come out controversial, but I'll back it up later. The building sales reps made a whole lot more money than the typical real estate agent back in the day, because they were selling a whole lot more property.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they would open a new community, and sometimes I would be writing contracts till 1:30 in the morning, just trying to fulfill the demand that was there
Yep.
because it was affordable, it was competitive with resales. And even though I made less commission per deal because I was working directly for the builder, um, it was, yeah, there was a lot more inventory that was sold at that point.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, I think that's flip flop with the building industry as well. As I'm not sure the typical building sales rep makes the same amount of money they used to 10 years ago either, right?
No,
Uh,
it's very, yeah, it's very rare. And then, the challenge with being on the building side is you could be in a really hot neighborhood like that, sign up a whole bunch of contracts, but then you have to wait for them to be built. So, there's a big lag time there in terms of when you will get paid. And then you're also waiting for the next neighborhood to come online, where there's an availability for the builder to send you. So your income is just up and
Right.
down. Even back then, it was, when you look at your average income, you may have like a super strong year and then just like a really sucky year after that, just because of the natural timing of waiting for the homes to be built.
Absolutely. So I told you, I certainly wanted to highlight some of your uh, big moments in your career, your milestones you created. And at the same time, not that I want to highlight your low moments of your career, but your failing forwards. And I heard you mention that you went and got your real estate license in 2009. The recession obviously took a toll on your life story here, right? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so 2006, 2007, I was flying really high, making a ton of money. Of course, had my name on a lot of loans, so a lot of risk there. 2000 into 2007, 2008 hit, and all of a sudden the bank is coming to me saying, "Hey, I know you're not really selling anything, but we still need you to make all your payments." And so, looking at tens of thousands of dollars a month in payments, that started drying me up really quickly. And there was no hope in sight in terms of the market turning around or turning around anytime quick soon. And to be quite honest, at first I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, I need to get the heck out of real estate because this is just going to be a disaster. Um, and so I kind of played around with a couple things, explored financial planning, different things like that. None of it, was really, there was a really long runway in terms of getting started in another career. And I had already, known real estate, had a lot of knowledge, a lot of contacts, kind of reached out to a mentor of mine. And he said, "Hey, why don't you just stick with what you know? The real estate cycles ebb and flow and it will come back. But if you're good at what you do, there's always going to be someone that, will benefit from your services."
Sure.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I didn't know anything about how to get started in residential real estate, how I was going to get started, marketing myself. I didn't know anything. And beyond that, I didn't have a ton of money to get started because a lot of it had been sucked up from the development. So, 2009, I just looked at, where's the market going? What's actually going to sell? Who can actually sell? And it was mainly the banks at that point, that were unloading a lot of foreclosure, short sales, that type of thing. I felt like I was a bit late to the game in terms of getting my foot in the door with those banks and becoming a preferred agent. So I said, look, I'm just going to take the other side of this coin and I'm going to work with buyers who are looking, to make a move and get a good deal. And I just started from there and, just started searching out these deals, sending it out to a database that I have had as it grew and kind of became known as the foreclosure guy, if you will. And so I started getting a lot of referrals and that type of thing. And then I had to as the markets started to transition in 2012, 2013, I really kind of had to retrain my database, if you will, and kind of recreate myself as like, hey, I'm not the guy that can just find you a good foreclosure. I can also sell your current home and help you find, other deals and other good homes in the market.
So, question. One is I see that you have an innate ability to see opportunity and go after it, right? But you made a statement. You said, I had to train my database. Tell me elaborate on that, because I think somebody watching this video could probably learn from that, right? Like, what does train your database mean?
Well, I don't think it's super complicated. It's just a matter of, transitioning with the market in terms of, showing them like, hey, the foreclosure deals are drying up, but this, could be a great deal to still get into the market as it's, going to really start ramping up as the economy improves. Giving them helpful information like that in terms of what was going on in the market, because they had seen for years, I mean, literally from about '09 to 12, so about 4 years, they had heard nothing but, you need to buy a foreclosure or a short sale or get a really good deal because the market may continue to go down even more. So I kind of had to refocus their attention onto, just normal resales and, hey, let's get you a nice home because everything's getting ready to go back up based on, historical data.
Yeah. So it's all messaging and creating influence, right?
Yep. And when I was with people, I mean, I already knew that they had that impression of me. So if I was with a client, I was telling them, the same thing, like, hey, market's transitioning. I don't just do foreclosures. Let's find you a good home in the area where you want to be, and I think you'll be in good shape.
Gotcha. What message are you putting out today?
So today I'm kind of, in the same boat. This market continues to amaze me. I think historically there's been nothing really like this, where the Fed has acted as a backstop to our entire economy, and they are not really letting anything fail. And so if that is the case, then we are going to probably see a continued very strong market with continued increases in values due to the lack of demand and the really low interest rates. So I'm telling people the same thing that I was telling them in 13, which is kind of amazing, is, hey, look, COVID looked like it was going to have a damper on us, but given the fact that, the Fed pumped $4 trillion into the economy and we have super low interest rates, it doesn't look like we're going to have that dip. So, you need to get out there and get your home now, at a minimum, to be able to lock into these rates. Because if we do see inflation, which looks like it, is going to start rearing its head, those rates may not stay low forever.
Got it.
So that's basically what I'm telling them.
No, I love it. So talk to me, what kind of production do you think you're going to finish this year with?
So, our goal every year is to close 200 transactions with the size of our current team. COVID put a pretty big dent in that. We were fairly idle for about 2 months. So I would love to, I mean, we're getting back on track very quickly, but I would love to finish out the year with 175 closed transactions. And the beauty of it is we are so underwater with the number of leads and people, referrals that we have coming in right now, that I'm desperate for good help. And I have opportunities all over the city, for team members that may be looking to really advance their career, make a lot more money than they're currently making, and also learn and have kind of a team dynamic behind them and the support of a team. So I think we could, blow past that number pretty easily, if we get the right people in place, or as soon as we do.
You're right. You're in a growth mode right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Pandemic, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I've got, I just brought on one lady in a part of town that we normally don't work in, and the number, she's like, Joel, I can't, like, it's the first week, and she's like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep up with the amount of referrals and live connections that we're delivering directly to her phone.
Got it. Wow. All right. So let's just call it 200, right?
Yep.
So how do you go from 2009 from getting your license to 200? Talk to me about some of the major milestones on that journey.
Yeah. So for me, having been burned so bad with the development side of things, I was all about running lean. Okay. So I was lean and mean. I was like, I am not going to pay anyone. until I absolutely, hate my life, and then I'll bring someone on. So that's kind of what I did, and again, I was selling during the recession. So there was just a lot of factors going on in terms of, trying to be frugal with my budget. But so that's basically what I did, is I worked as hard as I could until it was so painful that I then needed to bring someone on. And then I just continued that process. So I brought a virtual assistant on. She helped me to where we both were hating life. And then, we brought someone else on to help with contract to close work. And they were virtual as well, part-time. And then I started adding full-time staff.
Got it.
And so that's what I did. And then when I got so much business that I couldn't handle the appointments with my staff that I had in place, I said, hey, this makes sense. Let me find a really good buyer's agent. And then I just started adding those people as, my marketing budget and the number of leads and referrals came in. I kept adding and looking for really good people that I could count on. And that's the great thing about my team, is when you look at the average length of time someone's on my team, it's incredible. I mean, I think, the average right now is about 3 years. And I have only had a team since 2015. So, they seem to be very happy. They're getting, a lot of business. And when you look at what we close per individual on my team, is heads and shoulders above the industry average.
Got it. So lean and mean and virtual. Do you still have those people virtually with you?
So everyone, I think, is kind of working virtual these days, but the full-time staff that I have, they're not part-time. It's not the same people anymore, but the full-time staff that I have are all virtual. Right now I've got 6 people on staff, and they're only there to help support my team.
Got it.
So we've got contracts to close help. We have, lead conversion help. We have marketing help. We have even people, ISAs to call, the database when you're not available to follow up. So that's 6 full-time people right now.
I love it. So do you still go on listing presentations?
I definitely do. I've been slowly trying to put myself out of the business, even though I really love it. I've mainly just been working with direct referrals from past clients or past clients themselves. And I've been feeding all of the new business to my team for the most part.
Got it. So you're kind of dancing between a level 5 and a level 6 team, right? You're trying to get there, but you're getting pulled back into the business because you don't have enough help, right?
Yeah, I don't have enough help. That's the problem. Yeah, I think I could be at level 6 tomorrow if I could find 3 or 4 more really good agents, who want to do this business full time and want to learn and want to get to the next level.
But here's what I love about that conversation, Joel, is because you hold your business accountable, right?
Right.
You don't just do things because you feel good or want to, or you literally make sure the business tells you have to do it, and then you grow into that. It gets a little messy, and then you grow, and then it gets a little messy, and you grow. Well, right now you're in a little messy phase, and you're about to grow into it, right?
Yeah, and I made a commitment early on. I'm sorry?
That's a responsible way to grow a team.
Oh, well, I made a commitment early on that if I brought an agent onto my team, I better have the business to support them. If I was going to make them promises, I better be able to deliver on that. And if they're not successful, it wasn't due to my shortcomings. And I'm very serious about that. I want someone that comes on my team to stay with me for the rest of their real estate career, if that's what they want. If they want to use me for 3 to 5 years as a launching pad and go out on their own, that's great too. I'm excited for them to do that. But so I, instead of, going out, hiring a bunch of people to create a team without really having the business, I think is, a plan for failure. So I want to make sure I have more than enough business to be able to bring, whether it's an additional staff person or an additional agent onto my team.
I love it. So if I meet you 5 years from now, 2025, who am I going to meet?
It'll probably be the same guy. I'll probably be wearing the same sport coat and, talking
Same
about,
haircut, right? Yeah.
hopefully I'll have some hair left. Yeah, I'll probably be talking about how the team has grown, how they've put me out of business, but I still love, working with some of my past clients. And, that's kind of the goal or the vision for me, because I don't see myself completely ever getting out of the business. I think I would be way too bored. I've tried it before, to kind of just stop being in the business on a day-to-day business basis. And I just found really quickly that, my wife was sick of me being in the house, and there's not enough people to go to lunch with or enough hobbies to really keep me focused. So that's probably where we'll be in 5 years.
Gotcha. So you see yourself ultimately stepping out of some of the sales functions and
Sure.
being more of the business operator functions, right?
Yeah. And that's been the whole goal, is to slowly put myself out of business in terms of day-to-day meeting with people, that type of thing. And that's, it's been a slow transition, but I've been very intentional about that. Not to say, okay, I'm just going to rely on the business to support itself and see what happens. I want to make sure that the business is successful, so that I can slowly turn that over.
Yeah. So what's this business when everybody tells me that Joel Roberts a little bit of a ghost or a phantom?
Well, I've got the nickname of the unicorn in the office.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that mean?
And it's not because I'm antisocial or don't like anyone there. It's just simply because I have such a focus and am so driven that I feel like if my time's not with my family, it's best spent with my clients, to support my family. And so, I try and, cut down any extracurricular activities that are going to eat into one of those two things. So that's the only reason. You may not see me around as much, but I love everyone there.
I appreciate that. It only took me a month to get this interview, so we're good.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm just messing with it. Hey, you're succeeding and it shows and your numbers show, but more importantly, I love where your heart's at around your business. Joel, question for you that I'd like to end with is, if you were going to write that book authored by Joel Roberts, or I happened to go on YouTube and see a TED Talk given by Joel Roberts, what's the subject about?
So I doubt I'm going to be invited to a TED Talk anytime soon, but having thought about it and looking back over my career, I would say for me, I can best talk about perseverance.
Okay, tell me more.
So when I had to pick a new degree in college, I had to persevere because I didn't have the money or the time to mess around with another extra 2 years of college. So I worked my tail off to get done. I only went one extra summer, even though I transitioned from pre-med to real estate the middle of my junior year. So I had about 18 months to graduate. When I first went to work for Pulte, I was a 21-year-old kid that knew nothing. And man, I was scared to death when they finally said, you're out of training, here's your subdivision, go sell homes. And man, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't remember anything that they taught me. Computers were just coming out in terms of like all the paperwork and everything. And it was just overwhelming, but I knew I didn't have any other choice. If I wanted to be successful in this business, I had to stick with it. And so I just gave it my all, to be honest with you. And I really stunk at those first probably 5 or 10 sales.
Right.
And I'm sure people really could kind of see that I was nervous and didn't know what I was doing. But I always said, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to get it for you. And I did that. And I took it extremely serious. Same thing when it came to leaving Pulte and everything I knew, and went out on my own at, what was it, 26 years old, and signed millions of dollars worth of loans. I had to make that work. And same thing happened when the economy failed me and I had to kind of invent myself and go into the sales side. I knew a lot about real estate and construction and some about sales, but I had no idea on how to be a successful agent. And I stuck with it, had lots of months where I didn't make any money. And I've stuck with, figuring out this whole thing about a team and how to be successful. And so I would say in the end of the day, that is what saved my butt over and over, is just sticking with one thing and just saying, look, I know I can figure this out and be successful. And even though I might not be the smartest, best looking, most outgoing person, I can figure this out. And so that is, I guess, the one thing that I have experience with.
I like that. More people should bet on themselves, right? Not a lot of people will bet on themselves.
Yeah. And you can do it. I mean, it's
story.
real estate is one of the trickiest things out there in terms of like jumping in and saying, okay, I'm going to do this full time or even part time. And I think the statistic is 80% of people that get their license are out in the first year. So that's what I love about Keller Williams, is they set you up for success, and then they also give you access to people who are successful, whether you want to learn from them or join a team and benefit from that. There is a much higher likelihood that you can be successful at Keller Williams.
I appreciate that, Joel. I said that was my last question, but I got a one more. Why Atlanta? You moved all over the world. You went to college in Texas.
Yeah.
Why Atlanta? How'd you end up here?
A young girl named Carolyn.
Okay, I was gonna guess, but
Actually, two young ladies. So my wife and I met at Baylor. She's from here. We got married. We started our careers in Dallas. And then as soon as we got pregnant with our first daughter, that was really the catalyst that my wife said, hey, I'm moving home. If you want to come visit me and our little girl, that's fine, but I'm going. So I would say I didn't have a lot of choice in the matter, but the truth is I love Atlanta. I think it's very similar to Dallas in many ways in terms of the opportunity that's here, the opportunity that's been here, and I think will continue to be here in terms of the growth of this city and being in real estate, which I think is a great place to be in.
I love it. Joel, thank you for your time. I know we went over just a hair, but I appreciate it very much. And
thank you.
Really, really enjoyed it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.